Hello, I'm doing a review for this book, The Drama of the Gifted Child by Alice Miller. This book is kind of a self-help book. I think Alice Miller must be some kind of therapist, psychotherapist, so it's about understanding your problems. This book is quite a hard read because it gets you to really delve into your childhood and work out how your parents' behaviour has shaped you, and more specifically how it screwed you up. And this can be a difficult thing for many reasons. Examining childhood often brings up painful emotions, and it can also bring out guilt that you even feel like that, because as a child we're designed to believe our parents are always right, so we blame ourselves. Even when people say they hate their parents, the opposite is usually true. That's why it's so painful to accept their parents' behaviour. This book also makes you examine your own parenting, and that's also painful. We all make mistakes as parents, and it can feel like an easy option to ignore them, but of course they never go away. They most often blossom in our children. Passing on mistakes that were made by our own parents can be the hardest thing to accept. We didn't break the chain, we passed on the very thing that has haunted our darkest moments. According to Miller, the fact that I can barely remember anything about my childhood means I'm probably repressing pain from that time, and I would probably agree with this. However, I also feel resistant and hesitant to blame everything on my childhood experience. Some problems I find with this theory of blaming everything on childhood experience are I'm always wary of straightforward absolute theories. It seems that anyone who has a theory is certain that their theory is the only explanation for all the happiness or unhappiness in life. Did you have loving parents? Did you have money? Were you breastfed? Have you let the Lord in? Are you a vegan? Do you eat moon dust for breakfast? I find it very hard to believe that any one aspect of our lives can affect so much. We're complex. Life is a web of events rather than a chain. Blaming our parents so heavily lays a lot of responsibility at their feet. The saying goes that it takes a village to raise a child, and my experience has taught me that this is entirely true. But I don't have a village, and I live in a society which makes strong demands on its citizens. So I feel there will come a time when you simply cannot give your child the environment they need, however consciously you are managing to parent. I don't believe it's possible to parent our children in the ideal way in the context of modern Western culture, and that's where we live. So it feels like we're doomed to screw up our kids, even with all the best intention in the world. What about the parents? So they were fucked up by their parents, who were fucked up by their parents, and now we're fucking up our children. I don't think anyone is aiming for this situation. So whilst I think, yes, we should try to do as good a job as we can and aim for better than our parents, being wrapped up in guilt and shame about the clusterfuck that is human generational parenting is unlikely to help us very much. Most of us spend our lives dealing with issues from our childhood. It's highly unlikely that we won't pass some of these on to our children, and some of our own making, even with all the therapy in the world. From my interests in the universe and humanity, I believe that we choose our parents. So where does that leave us? Perhaps if we can understand why we chose those parents, what we intended to learn from them, how we've used these lessons to shape our lives, we could allow the situation a little more understanding. This book has certainly made me think a lot and reflect on my childhood, which is something I don't usually do, and try to deal with things a bit more, I suppose. I lost a friend this year to suicide, and I'm willing to make a concerted effort to fight back against my personal depressive and suicidal feelings. And if that means talking more honestly and openly, I'll try to plough through the guilt and embarrassment And if that means working back and picking through my past and remembering all the times I've felt hurt and let down and unloved, so that I can fully experience the emotion, to be released from it, I'll try. It's not something I relish doing, but I'll try. Because if I can, I want to be present and able for my children. Otherwise, they're going to be dealing with these same dilemmas in 30 years. So I would recommend this book, and I think it's a good book, but yes, it's not the easiest reading. Okay, thank you.